do this. You just said you had a kal v'chaimer. You don't bring the pasuk right after the kal v'chaimer. Ravashi says no. We left out that the kal v'chaimer is not good. The basis of the kal v'chaimer is not good. Why? From the very origin, there's a question here. From the very origin means that we said that the mother is not prohibited to, you can mate it together, but nevertheless, if you can mate the mother with the child together, then for sure you should be allowed, if you can mate it together, but you're not allowed to cook it together, then where you can mate it, where you can't mate it together, for sure you can. So going back on that first thing, what was your origin of this? You're taking the mother and you're saying that the mother, there's a connection there. It should be lenient. It should be lenient, that you should be allowed to cook it together. You bring it from Me'imai, from the mother.
We previously used this pasuk. This was the
oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh, you can't, there's no double dipping here.
Okay, so Rashi goes through this extensive way of explaining how this brisa is arguing on that brisa, and it goes through all the other types of all the other things that we learn from it, to how to avoid how we can get away with using these psukim and not mess up what we did here with this. Rashi goes through that. It's a whole
that was
complex.
That was the warning.
No, yeah, but that wasn't actually the difficulty. That is a difficulty, but I'm going to avoid that. So you're learning from the mother. You're saying, oh, the mother and the child are so close that you can mate them together, so therefore for sure you should be allowed to cook it. They're actually not so close, because you're not allowed to shech them on the same day. So that means, the reason why you can't cook them together is because you can't shech them on the same day. Timer bepara. Go back to this other animal, this cow or sheep, that you're allowed to shech them on the same day. So therefore, you should be allowed to cook them together. If you can shech them on the same... The mother, I'm not allowed to shech them on the same day. I can't cook the kid in the mother's milk. But here, you're allowed to shech them on the same day. Why can't you cook it? Why can't you cook it together? So therefore, I need the pasuk, Talmalem b'chalevim.
You don't need to check the mother to get the milk to cook the kid.
Right. What we're saying is, are they allowed... Should they not be mixed in any way? Do they need to be separated? So we said when it came to mating, if you can mate this kid with the mother goat, you're allowed. But nevertheless, you're not allowed to cook it together. Oh, that's a big chiddush. So for sure, things that you can't make together, for sure you can't cook it together. Now we're saying 1 second. You can't shecht the kid on the same day as the mother. So we see already that they have to be separated. So that's why you can't cook the milk and with the meat with the milk together. However, with a cow, where you don't see that they need to be separated, you can shech them on the same day. Maybe you should be allowed to cook them in the milk together. So it says no, b'chalevimai, in the mother's milk. It's any mother. It doesn't have to be its mother. It's an extra time. It's coming to include more. Okay. So far, so good. It's not so simple. Tanya idach, we have another brisa. B'chalevimai, in the mother's milk. Eily b'chalevimai. I only know in the mother's milk. What about b'chalev achayse gedola? What about with its older sister's milk? Okay, so we have a goat that had 1 year. It had a child, and the goats. It's going to be important, this information, that a goat can have a child in its first year. Teen pregnancies can have a child in it when it's a baby, almost in its first year. It can have a child. The following year, it could have another child. Now,
by the way, a cow can give birth after 1.5 years.
Oh, so the goat can give birth like in the first year. When you look at this thing, it's at least in LEC, you were like wondering what's the age between these goats, because which one's the mother and which one's the grandmother and all. Okay, so how do you know that you can't cook it in the milk of its older sister? So Amrit kal v'chaimer, we have a kal v'chaimer. in the first year. It could be the mother has this child, and when it comes to Meiser, Meiser is done every year. So you take the mother and the child are going into the pen to be Meiser, for Meiser to be taken together. And so even though the mother and the child could be taken together for Meiser, but however, Nesri may be bishul, but you're not allowed to cook them together, the kid with the mother's milk. So Achaisai, the sister, which cannot go together with this little baby, because it was a separate year that we're saying. The cases are different. This older sister, this older animal, older child, older offspring, was born a different year, so it can't go into the pen together for Meiser. For sure, you can't cook it together. So Talmud Leimer B'Chalevimai, the pasuk says B'Chalevimai that it's aser. So we have the same problem again. Why are you telling me that it's aser from a pasuk when you just told me a kal v'chaimer that it's aser? So Amar Ravashi, Mishum Dikalamemer mi'ikr dedina pircha, because there's a problem with the very origin of this kal v'chaimer. Mehecha kamaisas lo, where you bring it? Me'imai. You're saying from the mother that if the mother Meiser could be taken together, mother and child. And nevertheless you can't cook it together. So Mali Imish Kenesim B'Shchita. No, the mother is distinct from the child. It has to be separate because you can't shech the mother and child on the same day. That's why you can't cook the kid in the mother's milk. But that you can cook you can shecht on the same day. So I could have thought that maybe you can cook it together as well. Talmud Leimer B'Chalevi Imai. No, you're not allowed to. The pasuk tells me.
Question.
Yeah.
What do you mean about mother and child in
the pen?
Maser, in the pen? Can you explain?
Yeah, that every 10 animals that walk through. So the only thing is, if I took Meiser on this last year, I
so
don't
the
do it
mother
again.
came in as a 10, and then later on the kid came in as another number 10.
No, it doesn't have to be that. I'm talking about that I bring all my animals into the pen, and I let them walk through. Now, I don't care if it's the mother, the child, all of that. They all go through the same fence.
Right.
And the 10th one becomes Meiser. So, but I can't use last year's animals in this.
Right.
Last year's animals don't. So if the mother had a child a year ago, that child, and then it has another child this year. So those two children can't go together in the pen. Cannot.
Yeah.
So you see, they're separate. So for sure you can't cook them together. However, a mother that has a child this year, and the mother was only born this year, they can go in the pen together. So nevertheless, you're not allowed to cook it. So for sure, those sister and the siblings can't be cooked.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a
Will be shechted on the same day?
The siblings, yes, but not the mother and the child. And that's what the Gemara now does. The Gemara says that you can't say that even though the mother and child are so close, it's nevertheless you're not allowed to cook them. They're not so close because they can't be shechted on the same day. That's the reason why you can't cook and therefore the pasuk comes in.
I don't know if this is a stupid question, but one of the reasons it's given for not cooking the calf in the mother's milk is because this was the essence of cruelty from a Avodah Zarah. So you can't do that.
Uh-huh.
So the Torah prohibited, because this is what the Goyim would do with the Avodah Zarah. They would cook the kid in front of the mother and the mother's milk. So they were sensitive to the feelings of the mother.
Right.
So my question is, if that's the case, and also, I don't know if there's a side thing, you're not allowed to castrate. It also applies to animals. It's sterilized. So, and the third thing is, if you put animals together, like a mother with its children, naturally, they would not have relations with each other, the mother or the father with any of the children, because they know that maybe an instinct, they know that this is my child. I'm not supposed to have relations.
I can't comment on that. I don't know.
So my question is, how can you say it's okay? It's allowed. I mean, there's no issue, but like, how would it be allowed to have this unnatural situation where you're trying to mate the mother with a child?
Right. So,
you follow what I'm saying?
So regarding the logic for the prohibition of basar b'chalav, that it has to do with the cruelty. So there is one opinion amongst the Tanaim that darshin in time of the Kra. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai holds darshin in time of the Kra, but we never pass that you can you take the logic for the mitzvah and then you see when it's applicable. We never go like Reb Shimon. when it comes to Dashin at the time of the Crow. We don't do that. So there may be a logic, but it's interesting that the Gemara never, in all of this discussion, never mentions, well, 1 second, where does it look cruel? The Gemara never does that. So it must be that Basar B'chalav is being taken as a chayk. That ignore all the logic. You can darshan, that's for Shabbos Drasha, for the community.
So who explains? Who's the first to explain that this was a thing from the guy from Avodah Zarah?
Oh, there's people that explain. I don't know if it's a Sefer Achinuch or the Rishonim. They add explanations for these things, for these mitzvahs. They add explanations, but it doesn't affect the laws of the. Okay. Ashkechan Achaise Gedaila. We find that the older sister is prohibited to be cooked. The milk of the older sister is prohibited to be cooked with the flesh of the child. Achaise Ketana Minayin. What about the milk from the younger sibling? So it says Asimi Binaya. We're going to learn from the two together. Now, the way that this works. The older sister, Meiser was taken already. So how do we get both of them together? We say that. It explains. Mehai Tesi. Which one do you wanna learn from? Me'imai, from the mother. Mala imai shekein nesrim b'shchita. You can't learn from the mother. The mother, you can't shecht the kid and the mother in the same day. Okay, so it's the younger sibling, the younger child, with the older child, that you don't have that issue.
For sure.
You can. So but however, but the older sister, we already said, is a problem. That the milk from the older sister is already a problem, and even though you are allowed to shech. So we see that it's not the shechita that's creating the prohibition of basar b'chalav. However, you can't learn from the older sister to the older sibling to the younger sibling, because the older sibling cannot go into the pen for meiser with the younger sibling. So maybe it's the meiser aspect that creates the prohibition of basar b'chalav. If you can't do meiser together, then they can't cook them together.
What's the gestation period of this animal?
I'm not sure.
If it's under a year, they both should be born before the counting.
No, we're talking about when it is a year apart.
Because it takes
in that case,
months, okay.
So imay techiach. You see that that's not an issue. That it's not. In other words, we're looking for what's the factor. We have like different variables here. Which factor is the one that's creating the prohibition of basar b'chalav? We said, I know it can't be in the mother's milk. Well, the mother, you can't shecht on the same day as well, so maybe that's the roots of this. He said, well, I know you can't shecht in the older sister, you can't, the older sister, you can't cook in the older sister's milk either, so it can't be the shechita aspect, because you can shecht them on the same day. He said, well, I can't cook with the older sister, because I can't bring it into the pen, they can't go into the pen for meiser on the same day, so maybe that's the factor that creates the prohibition of basar b'chalav. So we say no, because the mother, which could be in the pen for meiser, still has basar b'chalav. So that can't be the real, the factor, the determining factor. So imay techiach, the mother proves that it can be in the pen. So v'chazar adin, and now we're going to go in like this revolving. We're going to say maybe it's this. Well, that proves that it's not. Maybe it's that. Well, that proves it's going to be this in the cycle. The strength of this one is not like that one. The strength of that one is not like this one. However, hatzad hashava shebehem. Now we need the common factor is shehu basar that it's flesh. Basal vashal b'chalav. Both mother and older sister have flesh or milk, and it can't be cooked with milk. Also the younger child, shu basar, which that's also flesh, basal vashal b'chalav, and cannot be cooked with milk. The Gemara now says, so why did we need a pasuk for the older sister? I could have learned the older sister from
The same way you learn
the same way I did the younger sister. Now Rashi goes through this whole thing. but you never learned the younger sister without the older sister. You just did that. You pick. So he quotes from Rabbi Yosef Toiv Alam, must be one of the Gaonim, and he says he saw a manuscript from Rabbi Yosef Toiv Alam that explains this Gemara as follows. He says that let's go back to our original halacha. We were going to learn from the mother has shechita. You can't shech the mother. You can't learn the older sister from the mother, because the mother and child can't. The mother can't be cooked with milk because you can't shecht it on the same day. It says, well, I already learned that a para and a rachel are also prohibited. The milk of a para and a rachel that can be shechted on the same day. So there goes that. But then I said, but I can't mate it together. I can't learn from a par and a rachel because they can't be mated. That's why you can't cook it in the milk. He says, yeah, but you can't cook it in the mother's milk either, and that can be mated together. So I could learn achaisa gedola if all of this is missing from the text of the Gemara. The Gemara is expecting you to figure this out. So it says, enachanami. Yes, you can. Ela b'chalevim alamali. So then why did I need b'chalevim? That was an extra verse. It says, look at the Tanya. We started in the Bais of b'chalevim in the mother's milk. I would only know in the mother's milk. But he atzma b'chal b'minayin. How do I know that you can't cook the meat in its own milk if you milked it before? Stop. I'm gonna have to stop here. Okay, we made it to here. This is okay.
So at the end of the day, we have all these scenarios, we have all these different colors, magic words, so we might teach us
Right.
the answer to everything.
Right. And now we're going to use b'chalevimi to teach me that you can't cook its own flesh in its own milk.
How the heck did you learn your sister's from Eily?
Sometimes usually reason.